Looks like it's working. Yeah, man. Facebook people, here we are. Let me set my camera up perfectly here. Oh yeah, I do everything perfectly. We know that. So hi, everybody. This is episode number 941. And I'm so happy that I'm still alive. And I'm glad you're here watching, whether you're watching live with your pants on or pants off, whatever. And if you're watching after the fact, that's fine. If you watch after I'm dead, it's posthumous, not posthumorous. So that's on you. But yeah, so we want you here. We want you sitting down, kicking back, enjoying. These interviews are just so you can get to know who in the world is Chris Spring on stage, off stage, in life. And no, this is not a wig. I know what you're thinking. I'm even wondering. It looks like a wig today. I have a sponsor. It's the veteransofcomedy.com. Thank you, Chris. They seem to think I'm funny. And so I make jabs at them. That's what you do when you're a comic, you have a sponsor, you make fun of them. Don't do it seriously. That's just so last decade. The new thing to do is to make fun of your sponsor and see how long they'll hang in there with you. So next time you want to hire somebody who used to serve up jokes, serve our country, and now they're serving up jokes. I know I gave it away. Go to the veteransofcomedy.com and scroll until you see my picture and hire me. Right, Will? I'm kidding. Hire Will. Once in a while, you got to keep the guy amused. Anyway, he puts up with me. I don't know why. I'm single. Nobody puts up with me but Will. Anyway, I have an amazing guest, and I'm so happy he's here because not only is he strikingly handsome, has a girlfriend. Don't worry, Jimmy. I'm backing off. He has an amazing girlfriend in the comedy world and in life as well. But today we're here to talk about my guest. We're going to get to know, where did he grow up? How many siblings does he have? Does he like to golf, or is he a kayaker? Does he brush his teeth? Does he floss? The normal things we all sit around and talk about.
True.
Yeah, we're going to get to it. We're going to chop it all up for you. And you can take notes so that afterwards you can go over to his Facebook, his Instagram, his TikTok, his YouTube. You can go to his shows. You can come and watch where he's performing and what he's producing and hosting, and go to his one-man show and be there when he gets the Emmy and the Grammy and all that other stuff. You guys, you're getting to know him while you can still afford him. Come on, that's what this is for. You're welcome.
That is true.
Yeah, man. And let's, I asked Chris, I said, could you send me an intro? Because if I go searching, first of all, I'm old school. To me, it's like snooping. And then I have a little bit of a brain injury, so I'm probably going to snoop wrong. I have messed up more interviews. So I have people tell me what they want me to say. Okay, here we go. Here's the intro of Chris Spring. Chris Spring, how's that for a start? I see that. Chris Spring is the current co-host of Citrus and Flowers. Sounds like a festival for stoners. He says, it's not, it's for everyone. So you got to go to that. Citrus and Flowers. He also was a contestant, and I was a witness, on the Kenan Thompson's Comedy Experience. That was something else. It's not easy to become a contestant on that. Making audiences laugh for over 7 years, my thing lost its place. Performing at many of the hottest comedy clubs and opening up for such headlining comedians as Heath Harmison, and one of my favorites here, John Caparulo. Oh my gosh, I love him. You guys, welcome to the stage, the one we're going to talk about today, Chris Spring. Woo! Hi, Chris.
Thank you, Linda. Oh my God, that intro was something else. So wow.
It's the best. I used to screw it up and I get so uptight that I'd mess them up. Now I just, oh, heck with it. I'm just gonna be crazy.
It's better that way. It's more raw, it's more real. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. I even add stuff, just whatever. Chris, you're here in Vegas, right?
I am here in Vegas.
And
I
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I am in Vegas, but I just want to. Shimmy's just a friend. No,
Jimmy's just a friend.
yeah, yeah.
He's available, girls.
I didn't say that either, but uh, it's funny because she's been my friend ever since I got to Vegas. Maybe for like a little bit over like almost 5 years at this point. And but we clicked right away. And ever since, because we kind of both have a twisted sense of humor, so we just bonded over that, and we've been like best friends ever since. Um, but it's funny because everyone will say that every once in a while, like, "Hey, are you guys?" And I'm like, "No way! I would never, I would never date a comic." First of all, I know this. I love female comedians, but I appreciate them more than like, you know what I mean? Like it's like I won't dip my it's like dipping your pen in the company ink. It's like it's a taboo. And you probably shouldn't do it. It's just not a good idea.
Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly. And I love Jimmy Hernandez and I
She's
love you.
hilarious.
She's
Thank you.
hilarious.
Yeah.
She's one of the best. She's one of my favorite female comedians.
She's okay. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
we don't, I mean,
I like you.
so there's something I don't want to forget to do this. So let's start off with the fact that you're a twin and I'm
Yes.
a twin.
Yeah, that's right. We're both twins.
It's so
So
funny because you'll go up on stage and you'll say, I'm a twin, and you'll do your jokes. And then I'm like, well, I want to say something about being a twin too. And I hit you up earlier and I thought we should go back and forth and just do twin jokes.
I love that. I remember when you told me you were a twin, and immediately I was like, oh, no wonder I like you like that. I knew there was something besides your good looks. I'm like, this lady, she gets it. She has that twin, because you know how we have powers basically that we're twins. So no, and then I've been waiting every time you go up. I'm like, is she gonna do some twin stuff today? Is she gonna do some twin stuff today? So I'm still waiting on that. But yeah, we both have that, and there's a lot of things I feel like I feel like I try and talk about some of the things on stage, but maybe you have a different experience when it comes to having your twins. Do you have like a weird thing uh that you would say is like unique to you and your twin? Because I know I do.
Do my twin is a boy.
Mm.
So is your twin a girl or a boy?
My twin is a boy.
And do you
Yeah.
guys have that thing where you think the same thoughts?
It's not, maybe not that we think the same thoughts, but whenever I'm bummed out, he'll call me out of nowhere and be like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I'll be like, "Oh, actually, I'm having a rough day," or whatever. Or yeah, he could like tell.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, that's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah. There's this other weird thing where um I know when he's losing weight or I'm gaining weight, because whenever I gain weight, he loses weight, and vice versa. So like, yeah, so it's one of those weird things, and it never fails. It never fails. So like I've been thinking lately, like I think I'm gonna like just send him a tray of like, you know, delivery food to like straight to his house, so I could make sure that I'm still losing weight and he's still
Wow.
gaining.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Why don't you start off with a joke about being a twin, and then I'll do one, and then you do one, and we'll just go for a while.
I like that. Okay, well, I'll do one of the ones that I do. Um, I I think it's really fascinating to have a twin. First of all, people look at you like you're some sort of like evil magic, but it's like, no, I just look the same. Like we just look the same, which is weird, and sometimes it hurts my feelings. So I'll just tell my brother, like, because we'll be like, oh wow, everyone's looking at us. But then after a while, we'll be like, all right, let's get out of this kid's room. You know what I mean? Like Timmy doesn't get it. He's not being cool right now. So
Okay, I'll do one. You know, I have a twin brother. I really do. His name is Fred, and he- people always ask the same stupid question, like, "Are you identical?" And I'm like, you get so sick of it, because scientifically it's impossible if you're not the same sex. So what I do is I tell them, if you pick up $2 bills on the ground, and even though, they don't have the same serial number or whatever, but one has a penis and one has a vagina, they're totally identical, right? Shut up. Stop asking that question. Your
oh my
turn.
god. Okay, I love that. So one of the things about my twin that I find interesting is he's doing really great at life. Like right now, like he has money in the bank, like he's celebrating like 20 years of marriage. And overall he's just doing great. And it's really amazing to see someone that's having an amazing life and they have your face. Yeah, I can't complain for anything. It's like people are like, well, he could do it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it could be done. I don't know how he did it, but it's weird to like say that you can't when someone looks like
Yes.
you and is doing it.
It is weird to have someone with your face. People say to me, "Oh my gosh, you have a twin? Oh my God, you look identical. Are you identical?" Uh-huh. Except I have a much bigger dick. My twin hates that joke.
That's so funny.
Your turn.
Um, okay, one time we were coming out of a comedy club. This is actually a true story. And this lady just randomly walked up to me and my brother and was like, churro, like very angrily. She just pointed at both of us. She said, churros, both of you. And that's all she said. And she walked away. And we didn't know what to think about it. And we were like, I don't know if that was racial or she was just selling churros. But either way, we were like, well, churros sound like a good idea now. So, we ended up getting churros. So that joke's a work in progress.
That's
I call it
funny.
churros.
I'll try something new. I've never said this out loud.
Okay.
So when we were little, we didn't have much money, and my twin and I we're entrepreneurial because we're Jewish. And so this doctor wanted us to pass out flyers around the neighborhood to get new customers. So my dad, he said, just take them and throw them in a Dixie dumpster and go back and get the money. So we didn't know we wanted our dad's love. So we took the flyers and we threw them in a Dipsy dumpster and went back and each got $7.50 and bought some new shoes. And then somebody turned the flyers from the dumpster back to the doctor. And then we had to work off the $15. Not a joke, it's a true story, but shows how decrepit us little brats were.
I love the twin stuff. To me, it's one of the things that we have that is still not out there enough. I feel like as far as comedy, I know there are a couple of twins out there, but it's one of those things where like my twin actually used to do stand up too, and it would always be weird because people would be like, what? Like, didn't you just like this guy's tricking you guys? He's the same guy. It's literally the same guy. So and it's funny. I always tell him like, hey, they want you back. Like, Hollywood called me and they're like, they want two twins and they want you back. It's just funny. Like, I mess with them.
Yeah, the things,
I'm just, I'm just saying how I love to mess with my twin.
the internet froze up on my end. I probably look
Uh,
frozen. There. Okay, perfect. So my brother, one time he told me that I look just like him. He really did. He wrote this joke. He said, "You look just like me when I'm in drag." And I'm
I
like,
like that.
yeah. And I was like, TMI. I didn't need to know
That is funny. I love that.
that.
Um, I don't have too many twin bits, but I will give another true story. One time I was date. Well, actually, you know what? Well, it goes hand in hand with it. So basically, one time, the cool thing about being a twin that has like your face, like it sometimes you don't want to mess with people, but it will automatically mess with people. I was dating this girl, and she came to visit me one day, and she walks in the door. I remember she walked in, and she made us beeline straight for my brother, and I was like looking at this, like wondering, like, where's she going? Hey, what are you doing? And she's over there like bending over to like kiss him, like. And the worst part about it was my brother was not trying to stop her at all. He was just like, okay, what's going on here? I'm like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm over here. So it is funny to have that happen.
Yes. I I'll tell my last one. I was in the same class with my twin through
Uh-huh.
school. Were you in first and second grade with yours in the same class?
We were in the same class in the third grade.
So my twin brother didn't know it. He was illiterate. He did not know how to read and write. He never told anybody. So in first grade, we'd get homework and he'd give it to me and I would do it for him. I just thought, well, he's lazy and I'd do his homework. And second grade, same thing. And then I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't do it to get him in trouble, but I had put my name on both sets of homework. So when we turned it in, the teacher caught wind of it, and we never were allowed to be in another class together again.
Oh my God. You know what? That's so funny you say that. That's exactly what happened to me and my, well, almost happened to me and my twin brother, but that was in the seventh grade. We actually got the same class. And I don't know why we thought it would be hilarious. We're like, we're gonna play a prank. And we thought switching seats would be like, no one's gonna get it. Yeah, no one got it right. No one realized it didn't matter. We were in the same class. But the teacher was still annoyed anyways, and he made us, he separated us. But yeah, it was one of those things where we thought we were coming up like trying to pull a fast one on him, but it was like it didn't matter. He couldn't tell the difference anyways. Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Did your parents know did your mom know she was having twins?
yeah, they did know. They did know. Um, and that's another funny thing too, is like I thank God that she didn't have that thing where like, okay, you guys are named totally different, Linda, Fred. Oh, that's great. I know a lot of twins that have rhyming names. You know what I mean? So yes, exactly. And I'm just glad that his name wasn't Chris first, because then I can only think of one word that rhymes with Chris, and I don't I wouldn't want to be called that. But well, I do tell a joke of how like my brother's name's Raul, and I always thought that was unfair because that's a very like Hispanic Mexican name, and like it's already hard enough to convince people I'm Mexican when they hear the last name Spring. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to be growing up in the hood and being like, "Hey, what's up, bro? My name's Christopher. Yeah, that's right. What's Spring? That's right." Like I can't be tough like that. But my brother had Raul at least, and so the story I was told was when they were naming us, they already knew my brother's name because he was the first one that came out, and his was Raul because that's my dad's name. And so then the doctor was like, "Oh, that's beautiful, Ra. I love that. What about the other one?" And then and then my dad was like, "Oh, I've been thinking about it for so long. I'm glad you asked that. Like, what's your name again?" And so yeah, so my lazy dad was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm gonna name. I know what I'm gonna name him now. So now my name is Dr. Christopher Spring."
Wow, that's funny. Well, Chris Spring, now's the portion of the show where I like to get in a DeLorean with a flux capacitor and go back in time to understand who you were. Like, you have a twin brother,
Yes.
and you're identical with different names, but
Mhm.
like, what was your family life growing up like? How many siblings were you? like rich, poor, what kind of
Right.
things did you tell us about your early home life?
I can definitely do that. I grew up in a not like I said, that was pretty ghetto. It was a ghetto neighborhood. It was called Pacoima. It's still called Pacoima, California. It our claim to fame was like Richie Valens came from there, and so did George Lopez, which is kind of cool. My dad actually knew George Lopez, like he went to school with him. So, anyways, uh, I have altogether there's six of us, six boys. So it's a small Mexican family, and every time I tell people that, they're like, "Oh my god, I feel so sorry for your mom," which is like I get it. Like we were definitely a handful, and then like out of the six, like there was literally a point where one year it was like one child, and then they went to three immediately. So like it was me and my twin brother, and like uh so obviously they did not have a whole lot of money, so we did grow up very poor. And I think that kind of shaped us to, because they had to be the ones to like figure out how they were going to pay rent and just basic, like how are we going to raise these six boys that eat as much whatever we have in the refrigerator, like they, which we were all big boys. And so it kind of left me and my brothers to our own devices, but me and my twin in particular, we would always had comedy to rely on. That's kind of was what how why we were so humorous, is because like we needed that to get by, so I
That
think that's kind of what I remember. Being 7 years old and telling my brother, like I remember I went to my because we lived in a back house of my aunt's, because she just was like, she felt bad for us. She was like, yeah, and we appreciated it, whatever. She had a back house, she rented it to us. It was great. It was tiny, but you know what, hey, we had a roof over our head. But I remember I went over her house one day and I saw stand up, and I want to say it was like Richard Belzer. Like it was like in the 80s, right? So it was like when it was booming. And I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. Like this guy has this audience captivated, like literally eating out of the palm of his hand. And there's no band. Like I was just amazed by that. Like it's just him talking. And I remember I walked outside and like remind you, like this is the ghetto. Like there's literally like gang members walking by us, and their little lowrider bikes, like clanging their bells and stuff. Like, hey, what's up? Like, and we're over here, and I'm over here, like, hey, I need to talk to you, brother. Hey, what do you want to do with your life? Like, I literally asked him that, and he was like, oh, I want to be a fireman, or no, astronaut, or a policeman. Like he's just a typical 7-year-old. And I go, no, not me. I want to be a stand-up comedian. And he was like, me too. And then he was like, what's that? He didn't know what it was. But once I introduced him to comedy, we both fell in love with it. And we kind of used that like to get through high school, get through everything together. We did it with like just being funny, like, you know what I mean?
Talk to
And
me about your grade school and your high school and your college, your early career, work career.
well, I it was cool because like having a twin, like you pretty much see them all the time, and then they already know how you are already. So it was great. But we, like I said, we used our humor to get by. So I was definitely smarter one. That he can disagree if he likes, but I, like you, I was the one who figured that out. But we would always use our humor. So what in the hood, like there's a lot of times where they did the same. Well, it was basically put downs. We would call it at the time. That's
The internet
it's like
froze.
uh like, okay, am I back?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Just 1 second, I'll have you. Okay, now you are.
Oh, okay, great.
Can
So
you repeat
basically,
what you said?
yeah, I was just basically saying how we had to use our humor to get through those tough times, because like I said, it was a lot of gang violence at the time, and it was rough already. So, but a lot of the jokes that actually ended up working was us in like our break periods, basically talking shit to everybody. Like if roast battle was the thing, we were the kings at it because we would roast and that went on from like elementary to like high school. Like we would just, I remember we would get groups of people that would come in and they would be like, oh, these guys are funny or whatever. By the end of it, they hated us. Like, but a lot of times we're like, no, we don't necessarily mean what we're saying. Like we're just riffing or whatever, right? And some people stuck by and they got the gist of it. Like they realized it wasn't no malintent. It was just we're just, you know, passing the time.
Yeah.
And once we got out of high school, you know, we kind of started working. Like I did like a semester in college, and then after that I was like I'm like my ADHD is not gonna let me do this. I'm like, so I better get funnier, or I better figure it out. And my brother was kind of the same thing. Like as soon as we got out of high school, we both wanted to do stand up, but for what reason or another, it just didn't happen. And my cousin actually had us a job lined up for us the day after we graduated high school. So I didn't even get a chance to really do a deep dive into comedy until we didn't actually do it until we were 21,
Wow.
which is the
20.
first time, yeah, that we did it.
So what
And
was the first time when you went up and did comedy? Where was it at? How did it go?
okay, so it was at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood,
Wow.
and we had heard about it. One of our a friend of a friend, I guess he had a buddy who went there earlier, and they had this thing called open mic, and it was kind of similar to Wise Guys. It's you get 3 minutes. But the thing back in those days, and I don't think they even do it this way anymore, is it was first come first serve. So it was literally the first 20 people lined up. So we knew that there was going to be a line. So I remember they checked people in around 6. I want to say at that time it was like 6 or 7. We got there by like 11, and we literally were sitting on the curb, waited all day. Luckily, we were the first two, so we were like literally number one, number two, and but we were so excited because we were like, matter of fact, it was our birthday. Because I remember we were like, if we don't do it now, we're probably never gonna do it. So we're like, let's give ourselves our own birthday gift of trying it out and see what happens, you know. And I remember like we were able to get on, and back in those days they're like, okay, come back at 8 o'clock, and then we're gonna start off that way. And my brother was a wreck. Like he was totally he was like, I'll just wing it and I'll be fine. But as soon as the time got closer, he was like, why did I do that? I should have prepared. Like I had already knew what I was gonna do. If anything, I think I was a little too prepared because I had like a poem and like way more than like 3 minutes worth. And so we go in there, and I remember we're waiting and waiting for them to call us, which we were 1 and 2. So it's literally we knew we were gonna be the first ones. And the waitress comes up to us, and she's like, hey guys, like, how can I help? As soon as she started talking, my twin brother was like, beer. I want beer. Like whatever you have, I don't care. Just give me 2 of them. Like he was so nervous. And yeah, but and I was like, yeah, I'll take one, like, oh, this guy, is a rookie. And so he did well. He did well. He used his nervous energy, and it went out. Even though it wasn't prepared, his angst and his whole honesty about it, where he was like, "Wow, I didn't think 3 minutes was gonna be such a long time, but wow, it's actually really long." It was really funny. Like, it's went up. Like they
That's
literally thought.
hilarious.
So
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
I
How
was
did yours
literally the opposite. Yeah, that was the first time that we did stand up.
how did
It was
your
fun.
set go?
It went well because I had a matter of fact, I can tell you these are the first jokes that I ever wrote. I was very influenced by there was this female, she's still female. There's this female comedian. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm spacing on her name now. If it comes up, I'll tell you. But um, she was literally my favorite comic at the time, and she did a lot of misdirects. So I wrote this set that was basically that. So this is how it goes. I go, oh, ladies and gentlemen, like I'm sorry, I'm a little out of it right now because I just got into a fight, and I'm sorry, I've never been in a fight, with a girl before, and no, but it's okay, because I won, so it's cool. I mean, I feel bad. I don't get me wrong, I feel bad. So like, I visit her in the hospital. I'm always like, you know what, grandma, you like, you know what, I'm sorry. We had a little bit of disagreements, but hopefully you can, listen to me next time, grandma. Listen to me. So those were the first jokes I ever wrote that I was like,
I
I want
love
to try this.
that.
Yeah.
Those would
Uh,
still work today.
oh, I don't know, but that was literally the first time that I tried it, and it did get a good response.
Yeah.
And then I did some poem that I don't remember off the top of my head, but uh it had to do with like a relationship. I think I was on at the time, but it went really well. It went really well,
And
and it
then
was funny to see my brother so nervous.
and then you went on doing comedy and you
Yeah.
wind up on Keenan Thompson and opening for a couple of heavy hitters. Let's talk about your comedy trajectory from the first time at the Hollywood Improv to today. Go ahead and
Well,
say anything.
okay. Well, I was even now I think you could say I'm kind of a nervous performer. A lot of times I have to work myself up to being like, okay, no, you got this, like, snap yourself out of it, like, so what ended up happening was, in the beginning, it took me a long time to learn this lesson, but like, I did it that first time, and then something would happen in life that I would be like, oh, should I stop for a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And hold on, give me 1 second. i'm,
no problem.
I'm
Take your time.
okay, so basically, what would happen was I would have to stop for a little bit of time, um and literally I would take months off, and then like, something would happen, and then I would take years off. But it got to the point where this when I moved to Vegas, where I was like, you know what, things are always going to happen, so either I keep doing it and get better, or it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So once I came
I
to
had the
Vegas, I took
same
it more
I had
serious.
the same story. Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, once I got to Vegas, I was like, you know what? There's only one way I'm gonna get better, and is if I do it. I wish I could do it more now. Um, but like, even now, like, I had a huge tragedy happen in my personal life, where my the mother of my children passed away, and that was really hard. And it was this last year. So I've been a single father, well, I've been doing it like by myself this whole last year, which is like, you don't realize how much you take, other people in your life for granted until they're not there anymore. And but
I'm
I also
sorry. I'm sorry that happened.
I appreciate that, but I think that's kind of why, like, now I realize, like, things are gonna happen, and I wanted to show my kids, like, you know what, bad things are gonna happen to us, but it's up to us to keep on. And I know deep down, like, had she still been here, she would want us to keep, you know fighting, and try and get as much joy out of life that she would want it for my kids, and, like, what I mean, for all of us.
Yeah.
So it was basically like an example I wanted to show my kids of, like, we can still go on, and we can still find happiness in life, and you know what I mean. So I kind of use that as like motivation nowadays, to be like, you know what am I worried about? Like, who cares? Like, if I bomb, like, okay, like, there's next time, at least, knock
Exactly.
on wood. Which
Yeah.
you saw yesterday, I had a rough set.
I loved your set. I enjoyed it more than anybody else's the whole night.
Oh, I appreciate that. You know what's funny about that set, Linda? Like, I do this thing now where I want to find enjoyment in certain little aspects of like me doing comedy. And last night I was like, I want to try these new jokes that I was working on. And a lot, like I told you, I'm a nervous performer. So sometimes when I get too nervous, I go to the well of like, I know this joke works, so let me just go and do the old jokes that I know work. But I literally, you saw last night, I stopped myself and I was like, no, you know what? I need to do this new joke. I wanted, this is what I came for. And I stopped, and I'm so glad it got a laugh, because I was like, if this doesn't get a laugh, I might have to rethink things. So
Fabulous. You know, there's one after, when you watch an open mic, 3 minutes each person, everybody's all perfectly prepared. It's an open mic. They're not trying new material half the time. It
right.
sounds like they're over rehearsed sometimes. And you got up there and you weren't over rehearsed, and you were like letting us in on the gag that,
Yeah.
your memory had failed you, and you
Yeah.
had COVID, and it was the best moment of the night to me that you were being so real.
I appreciate that.
I don't,
Yeah.
I didn't even care if I heard one joke out of you because you were being so real.
Oh, I appreciate that. I really do. I will say this. It felt good as soon as I walked off to know that, you know what? It was a little weird, but at the same time, I did what I wanted to do. So I was happy about it. I was
Yeah.
happy about it. Yeah.
I was so scared last night to go up because in my life, see, I'm Jewish, but I'm half Jewish, and I'm not even the right half Jewish. The Jews never wanted me because my mother wasn't Jewish, and so
Oh, got you.
I've been really put down for being Jewish, and
Mhm.
so I got up there to tell 3 Jewish jokes right off the top, and I was scared to death to say them because it's like a personal problem. Like, and I'm
I,
trying to take back that power and just let it rip. And I'm not there yet, but at least I got my 3. That's the most Jewish jokes I've done in a row.
I love it. I love your Jewish jokes, as a matter of fact. But I think that's kind of the way you were handling it, is how you, I think most performers will progress into that, where they're like, they need to find something that makes them want to be like, oh, this is fun. Like, I remember why I love this. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of why I do want to be more of that. Plus, I want to be better at like, not more or less improving, but at least being more on my toes. So I
Yes.
think yeah, I think
I want
I
to be.
enjoy that.
Remember the big girl that was black that went up there and towards the end, and she was just really in the moment, and
Yeah,
she
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
like she was just talking to us on the stoop in a Brooklyn townhouse. I loved her
I love
comedy.
that. I love that too. Like when it's like, oh, this is real. And then when they make you think, where you're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, I almost like that better than like a cheesy one liner or whatever. But don't get me wrong, there's some one liners that are good, but I
Yeah,
love a good thinking joke.
me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
I'm definitely trying to get more into that.
I'm trying to work up the nerve to do a real ballsy joke about being Jewish. The wrong, like I'm Jewish. Okay, well, only half, and it's the wrong half, whatever. And
Yeah.
go, and Jewish people don't let us get buried in a Jewish cemetery if we have one tattoo, and so like
Oh, I
they
did not
know.
know that.
Yes. So my whole life they've rejected me every which way. So I want to go get my whole body, every inch tattooed. So when I'm dead, I can reject them.
Like you'll show them.
Like I
I
want
love
no
that.
mistake about it. Do not make me spend eternity with you guys.
I love that. I love that. Tattoos are forever. So yeah.
So yeah. Is there a joke that you'd love to do that you haven't done yet? I'm really scared to do that joke, but I
Well,
have to do it.
no, I think, you know what? It's funny because that joke that I ended with yesterday which I guess I can share a little bit of the premise of it. I just thought the idea of it is funny because I do it, but I do it in a joking way because I try to think of like certain aspects of my own personal opinions on different things, right? So I had this thought of how like I feel like most of us would get along better if they realize like most people are not trying to be malicious. They're just trying to be funny, but their version of funny doesn't come across because it's not obvious.
That's right.
So like so I had this idea for this joke where every once in a while I will blame stuff on a certain group of people just because I feel like everyone's doing that nowadays. So but for me, like I was like I love to blame white people. Like I love to blame white people for things they have nothing to do with, which is just hilarious to me. I'll go
Yes.
to the grocery store and like there's like a shopping cart just by itself and I'll grab it and I'll be like, white people. It's just hilarious to me because it makes no sense.
Yes.
So
Didn't you do that on stage last night?
I did do that on stage last night. I did a
I
little different, but
I
yeah.
loved it. I loved it because
You,
first of all, you could tell your likability and your funny was right in your heart. You could tell it wasn't malicious, and it was so stupid. It was funny.
yeah, that's exactly what that makes me feel so much. You know, it's funny how like you're telling me like your apprehension to do the Jewish jokes. In my mind, I'm like, no, I don't see anything wrong with you doing those jokes. I think they're great jokes, and I get why you would be like, oh, I don't know if I should do it because that's how I felt about doing those jokes. But that's what I meant by like people need to realize like I don't mean anything by it other than like to show like sometimes we're all like that. We all have our, we blame somebody else, but unless you're saying it in a way that's like, oh no, he's obviously kidding me. He doesn't really mean it. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
like, yeah, so that was the whole and I was scared to say it because I didn't want anyone to take it the wrong way
Oh,
and be
there's
like, oh,
no
see,
way
he
they
hates
could take.
white people. Yeah,
It
and I
was
was like,
so.
no.
It was so funny. I could listen to you say all those white people jokes. Like,
Oh, you're froze. Oh no, I'm still here. Guys, I'm still here. I'll take over for Linda. So, like Linda was saying, you guys can follow me on Chris Spring Live. I don't know if Linda's talking right now. I don't know if the feed ended or let's see. Um, do I need to take over right now? Is this because of the joke? Is this because of let's see. Oh, I'm still here.
oh, you're there. You
I'm
came
here.
back.
Yay, we're back. This is what I was afraid of if I did that joke, that they would cut off our feed.